Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Alright, so today's video is going to be about how people tend to project onto other people a lot. Okay, so I'm going to lower the volume of the music a little bit right now, and then I'll do it again in about 2 minutes. Okay, so I want to share something that they taught us and shared with us during, it was a 5-week long NLP training. In fact, it was actually shared at a couple of the trainings. Now, when they were saying it to us, I was young. I was probably, the first time I heard it, I'm probably going to say 22, 23 years old, something like that. So you could say I was a bit young, I was a bit naive. And I didn't really understand what projection was. Sure, in psychology classes, we were taught it and we learned about it. And we learned about it during our NLP and hypnosis trainings, etc., etc. And I understood it logically, but I didn't really consciously understand it on a day-to-day basis. Now, sitting in class, I was kind of sitting there going, oh, well, that's not going to happen to me. Oh, boy, was I wrong. So here's what they were talking about. They were talking about how clients will come in and they'll bring their problems with them, which is actually appropriate to some degree because you have to deal with them. And one thing they taught us, there's something that you got to prepare yourself for. And they said, and I think it was John Overdorf had taken over at this point in the training. At least I remember he was the second person. Dr. Tad James was talking about it. He introduced it and John goes, oh yeah, let me tell you. So here's what it was. He said, look, your clients will project their stuff onto you. And that's not the word. Okay, there's a word we use in NLP and we actually consider it an actual official word. It's called shit. Clients will project their shit onto you. And the funny inside joke in the NLP trainings is that word shit is nothing more than means stuff. So John, now I'm actually really glad the way John explained it, because the way he explained it was the way it happened to me. And because of that, I identified it fairly fast. Alright, so here's what happened. A client comes in. And I don't know if I should use... Actually, let me do it from John's perspective. So John was saying, okay, so here's what happened. He goes, and when I first started doing therapy with people, I didn't catch it right away, but what would happen is you would walk out of the session feeling like, oh my God, I'm this bad person, or I have this issue or this problem or whatever, because your client said, oh, you're a bad person, you're a jerk, oh, I don't like you, or it could be, okay, so John would say, so then another client would come in, say, the next day or a couple days later, and he would say the complete opposite. Man, you're like the nicest person in the world. And then another one would come in and say, like, you're stubborn, like you're just too stubborn, like how can you even do this work? And then about a week later, another client would come in and say, you know what, you're just a total pushover. And he said what happens is you kind of go, I don't remember the word he used, but it was something he used. You kind of go a little bit nuts. You kind of go bonkers a little bit, because one day you're this, another day you're that, another day this, until you start to realize this is their stuff. All right, so I'm sitting here going, oh, that's, it's because John's a really great guy, but super nice guy. And now here's the thing, that might actually be my projection. I tend to project niceness onto a lot of people. So I was working with clients, and it didn't really happen right away. I would say it took probably half a year or so. And I remember some client had, after a few sessions, had said something about me, said, oh, you're this and you're that, blah, blah, and they were kind of upset and blah, 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 and I kind of let it roll off my back, but it did, I'll be honest with you, kind of bug, especially back then. Now, not so much, because it's so obvious now, and I'll explain why. And this is going to, by the way, this is going to wrap back around to helping you. Because again, most of you that are on this channel found this channel in the last 4 or 5 years, from yesterday to back to about 4 or 5 years, and it was about narcissist abuse. I've done a lot of videos on narcissist abuse in the last 4 and 5 years. And so this is something that narcissists do. But remember, a lot of people are like, oh, well, how do I identify a narcissist? I go, you don't need to. Narcissists are like the extreme example, so you can finally learn, like, oh, stop letting people be rude, disrespectful, and mean to me. So when people are rude, mean, project onto you, just no, I don't deal with this behavior. I'm done. They don't have to be a narcissist, because there are people that are just in a shitty mood, or they're shitty people, or they're just whatever. They might be a flying monkey, or they might have been raised by a narcissist and they have these narcissistic traits. It doesn't, in other words, they don't have to be a narcissist to do negative stuff. So stop thinking I have to identify them as a narcissist. No, what you have to identify are the red flags. Are they rude? Are they mean? Are they disrespectful? Be done with them. It doesn't matter what they are. That was the lesson of a narcissist coming into your life. So you can finally have boundaries and say, no, this isn't acceptable. You know, boom, I'm done with you. Boundaries. So I would have clients come in and say, oh, you know, you're mean, or you're too aggressive, or too this, or too that. It's like, oh, okay. And it kind of bothered me. I thought, well, I'll adjust my behavior. And they said it again the next time. I'm like, man, I was like totally nice. I was totally soft, too soft, by the way, which is another thing I learned not to be. And then what happened, I would get another client a few days later, and they would say the complete opposite. Man, you were too nice, man. You just went too nice, and blah, blah, blah. I bet people walk all over you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just kind of like, my brain kind of fried a little bit. But this had happened in many, many different ways. Now, here's what happened. Yeah, I remember John teaching this to us, because it came up, because actually I kind of got ping-ponged around by a couple clients. And I remember John saying this, so I kind of dealt with it really well. I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. But that wasn't what really kind of ripped the veil wide open to where I could see what was really going on. I had a client come in and tell me he had this issue with whoever, his mother, his whoever, father, sister, brother. And I think it was the second session they started projecting this onto me, and it really caught me off guard, because I was like, wait, I've never had anybody in my life ever say that about me, like ever. And I was like, wait, what? Like it was so off base, so, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It just didn't match with me. And I'm looking at this person like, oh, wait a minute. This is what they said on the phone. I have this issue with so-and-so, and it was the same issue that they were projecting onto me. Now, a lot of clients, when they come in, they will have this, maybe not, it's not so much anymore, because I have better boundaries and I'm very conscious and aware of this, and I'll point it out like real fast, like, wait a minute, in the email you literally said, and I'll pull my computer out and say, read what you wrote. Now, listen to what you just said to me. Like, oh man. And the good thing is, a lot of people don't like to kind of, have you point things out like that, but that's why they're here. And then they can kind of have an aha moment of like, man, maybe it is me. Yeah. That's the beginning of learning. Now we have these things called parts, and a lot of times parts are not conscious of themselves at all. So when you can get a part to be conscious of what it was doing, okay, so essentially a part will have a basic behavior, and it's trying to get you a certain result or outcome. It has an intention that it's trying to get you. A lot of times the behavior is not getting you what you want. A lot of times it's the behavior that's screwing you up, which I've mentioned in the last few videos over the last week or two. One of the ways you get a part to heal is by allowing it, finding a way to get it to see itself. Now with this client in particular, I did kind of, I know what the right word is. I'm going to put a soft sell on it. In other words, I didn't like ram it in their face. I just kind of softly mentioned it. Hey, isn't this exactly what you said about your mother and blah, blah, blah over the phone? And here, look, it's in the email. They kind of went, huh, okay. So I didn't really shove it in their face, but I made here was what it was. That part I was dealing with at that time was out. And I gently said it to that part of him, all right? So I made it very aware. So then what happened was the next day or the next session when they came back, they started talking about the same issue, but now they were saying it was this other person. So I essentially, I don't, I would have to teach you this technique. So I essentially, I'm just going to say, I mirrored it back to them. And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, okay. Without verbally pointing it out. But it was enough for them to kind of catch themselves, go, huh, wow, this is the same issue. And now it's with another person. So this person actually stopped and paused and kind of, you could tell he did what we call transderivational search, which means they go inside, they kind of search through their memories and their experiences with this person, that person, the other person, etc. And they're pondering, going, okay, well, there is a pattern here. See, when you could start to see the pattern, that's the beginning of healing. See, with empaths or scapegoats, we're always blamed for everyone else's problems. So we always think it's us, like, because that's all we've heard since we were little children. Oh, it's you. Oh, it's you. Then we date a girl, or someone, or a boyfriend or whatever, who is also a narcissist, because we tend to be attracted to what we know, and they're pointing it. And then it was a narcissistic teacher. So our whole lives, like, we think, well, it's me. So we're the ones who go to therapy. Now, in the long run, if you do stick with it long enough, therapy pays off big time. So this is what they say, usually the black sheep or the scapegoat or whatever, they tend to go from being the ugly duckling to the goat, the greatest of all time, because they tend to deal with a lot of their issues and they start figuring stuff out, so they start to move forward. They start to discover things like, okay, let's take you guys watching this channel. I bet a lot of you have had a ton of realizations. I bet I've pointed out a lot of things about narcissist abuse, how they blame you, shame you, all this stuff about God, the Bible, how people trick you and lie to you, and you start seeing the truth because you're searching for it. Whereas other people, well, they just blame someone else, and therefore they never deal with any of their issues. They never see their blind spots, then they never look for them, therefore they still have them, and here we are 30, 40, 50 years later, and they're still dealing with the same problems, the same issues, and they blame it on others because they can't see it, because they've never delved into it. They've never looked for help. They've never had someone be a reflection. They've never, like, okay, I have someone who's a badass therapist, someone I found more than 25 years ago, and she will not let me slide on anything. She calls me on my shit. Now here's the really cool thing. Because she's trained in these modalities, she has a really good way to get my brain to see it, to get my soul, my heart to be aware of me, like, oh God, you're right, I'm still doing that, or I haven't developed this, or whatever it is. The fact that you're watching this channel and you're learning as much as you've been learning, you're dealing with your issues. Like this video alone is saying, hey, here's our blind spot. We let other people project their shit onto us. And here, if you're an empath or a light worker, a very warm-hearted person, especially if you've been conditioned and beaten down by narcissistic abuse, is what we tend, because they literally teach this to us, is we tend to see the good in people no matter what, even if they stab you with a knife. I literally was stabbed in the leg with a knife by some guy I've never met or heard of at a high school dance. Didn't go to our high school. It was a crosstown high school. He came to one of our dances, stabs me in the leg, and I didn't even know who did it, didn't know why they did it. And Monday morning, someone goes, well, that was so-and-so, his name's this and that. And I'm like, hey, at the next dance, if you see me, if he's there, point him out. And the guy goes, yeah, okay, man. And so what happened was I went up and gave him a hug. Because, okay, listen, this is literally my mom till the day she died. I remember I took a friend over. Now, this happened more than once. I even told it to my last girlfriend. I go, I will bet you $50 within 10 minutes or less, probably less, my mother's going to look you in the eye. At first time she meets you, she's going to say, everyone has good in them. You always have to look for the good in them. Everyone has good in them. You always have to look for the good in them. Now, that sounds like a really wonderful person. I mean, it sounds so nice and kind and like, what a loving person. But here's the deal. Like, if you learn hypnosis, she's doing this using embedded commands and all this negative stuff. I'm like, whoa, what the hell's going on here? And I looked at her one day. I was like, she's literally hypnotizing us. My whole life, I could literally be in a room with Charles. This is what she would say. Okay, I didn't even finish it. So she would literally say after that over and over, you've always got to look for the good in people. No matter who they are, there's always good in someone. You got to look for it. You got to find it. Now, it sounds nice, but it's literally conditioning your brain to always look for that. Now, what I finally learned, because I used to get hurt by a lot of people because I couldn't see they were hurting me. Even when my friends would scream, "What are you doing?" I went and hugged the guy. I don't know if I said that a little bit earlier, but when I saw the guy at the next dance, my friend goes, "Yeah, that's the guy right there." I was like, "Oh." I went up to him and said, "Hey, I'm Mike Kollin, blah, blah, blah," and I gave him a hug, and he just like, "What?" I didn't even go to the police. I didn't tell the administration. I didn't tell nobody. I gave him a hug. I don't do that anymore. Because one of the messages I've taught you guys already is you have to see the good and the bad in people. You have to see all of them, not just this tiny sliver. Because my mother would literally say, and I'm not joking, she goes, no matter how bad they are, even if they're Charlie Manson, they've got at least a sliver of good in them, and you've got to look for that. In other words, you're only focusing on and only looking for, and always, that was the key word, always looking for the good in them. So if there was 1% good, that's what you got to find, and that's what you got to see. Now, after I had taken all these NLP and hypnosis trainings, I would literally laugh at my mom when she would say that, because she would, now she passed away. If she was alive today, if I went to dinner, within 10 minutes she would bring this up and she would repeat the same thing over and over. And I started laughing once I started realizing what she was doing. She goes, "What's so funny?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing. I just kind of find it kind of odd that you picked Adolf. And oh yeah, Adolf Hitler was the other one. Even Adolf Hitler, blah blah blah. Even Adolf Hitler's got good in him." And I said, the two not mentors, but the two, not heroes, but I can't remember the word, but examples of people that you want me to look up to are Adolf Hitler and Charles Manson. Well, she kind of got quiet. She realized the jig was up, but she didn't stop. She kept doing it. Don't worry, I no longer look up to Adolf Hitler or Charlie Manson as my guiding mentors. I pointed that out to my younger brother one day, and I go, no, watch. I go, watch when someone comes over, and I elbowed him in the arm a little bit, and he's like, "What?" I go, "Look, listen to what she's saying." And he goes, "Holy shit, she does do." He goes, "Oh my God, she's been doing that our whole lives." I'm like, "Yep." Now, if you've dealt with narcissists, you have dealt with this, always see the good in them or only look for the good in people, because what it does is it conditions you to only see the good in not only her, but other narcissists. That's why they do it. So if someone hurts you, you don't fight back. You don't stand up for yourself. You don't even see it's bad. So after they brainwash you into seeing only the good in them, they start to punish you, and they start to accuse you of things, and they start to blame you for things, and on and on and on. And what you should begin to realize and wake up to is they're doing nothing but projection. But so did you. Now, I admit it was trained and conditioned into you. What you projected onto the meanest, most cruelest people in the world was, I see the good in them. And I bet a lot of you would say that, like, "Oh, you just got to see the good in them." I bet you told that to people who were begging you to get away from someone who was abusing and hurting you. So what we tend to do, including empaths, we tend to project who we are onto other people. Okay, this is something that the NLP trainings and Ericksonian hypnosis trainings just really, really got us to understand. It was really hard. It was hard for me because I didn't quite see it until I saw it. And I tell you, when I really, really saw it was when I got those clients that went back and forth on me. And then I had this one client that was just completely out of left field. Like, "Wait, what? I've never even heard of that. What is that?" So that's when I became very, very conscious of it, and I see it in people now. So for me, it's a lot easier. For you guys, I bet a lot of you started to see this over the last 4 or 5 years. I bet a lot of you, those who truly went through the dark night of the soul, and you kind of like isolated yourself from society for a while, you started seeing people for who they are, and you're like, why do people always blame me? Why? It's not you. I am telling you. It is them. So here's another way for you to see it, to make it easier. Start paying attention to other people and how they talk about other people. Watch that, and then you'll see it. It was the same thing with my clients. when I started to see them doing this. So here's the really weird thing. It's weird, but in a cool way. Like, you can sit there and watch someone go, wow, that person said this about this person, then this person, now this new person, now this other new person, now this person they've only met once. And you start seeing a pattern like, this is the way this person is. And here's the other thing. Then you look at them, go, wait, that person's angry. Like, let's say someone's walking around, oh, so-and-so's bad, so-and-so's bad, so-and-so this, so-and-so that. And you look at them like, well, you're like the angriest person in this whole place. Like, what are you talking about? And it's like, and here's the deal. I'm telling you, don't argue with them, because most people will not allow themselves to look at themselves. They just won't do it. Now, here's why. The left, now watch this. So, you know how in a movie theater, you go sit down in the chair, and in front of you is this, up on the front wall is this big, wide screen. It's very tall, very wide left and right. And then behind you, up in the ceiling, or not in the ceiling, but up the wall, probably about 15 feet up or 20 feet up, is the camera. It's literally called the projector. That's what a camera is. It's a projector. So it projects the film, which is inside. Now watch this. Where is the actual physical film? It's inside the projector. Okay? And what it does, it has a light, and the reels roll, and the light shines through the film, and it pushes that image out onto the screen out in front of you. So imagine you are up in the film room where all the film is, where the projector is, and it's projecting out that little hole, little square in the wall or whatever it is, and up above people. And you are, so essentially that's what's inside your brain. Your brain and your eyes are the projector, and they're projecting your thoughts out onto the world outside of you. So if you look at someone, they become the screen. Now watch this. So for those of you who've been following me for months to years, what I'm going to teach you, you've heard a million times and you understand. All these patterns come back around. Now watch this. See, what happens is you start seeing the simplicity of all the patterns. Now watch this. The left brain is the external brain. Does that sound like the projector? Why, yes, it does. It literally looks outside of you to the external world outside. The right brain goes inside. It drops down inside and it becomes aware. Its awareness goes inside to its emotions and feelings and the internal dialogue and all that stuff. So it's the internal brain. So which brain do you think projects? If you said the left logical brain, you would be correct. Now watch this even further. So people that have a balance between left and right hemisphere, and they can shift back and forth, they can go external, then they can go internal. So these are the people who have the best of both worlds, because you can come back inside and go, okay, let me process that internally. So what you're doing is now you're looking at yourself. Now, if you're an empath, you're a very internal being, and the problem is people conditioned you to where every time you look inside, oh, you're bad, oh, you're bad, oh, you're bad. And this is something that's conditioned into you to where every time you do the self-internal check, you're like, oh, I'm bad, because that's all that was filled up inside you. So this is one of the ways why they keep you under their thumb and convince you, oh, you're no good. Now watch this. So having the ability to consciously be aware of someone externally, bring the thoughts inside, this brings a balance out to where you're seeing both sides, and now you can see what's going on, versus just constantly saying, oh, everyone's good, even Adolf Hitler, you always got to see the good in them. No, you got to see the good and the bad in people. So now you're looking for both. So now let's take a very left brain person. Now, by the way, narcissists are completely left brain. They have almost zero, if any, connection to the right brain. It's why they are narcissists. It's why they are competitive. The left brain is the back and forth, either or, right or wrong, constantly, trying to outdo, because it's that either or, A or B competition thing. So here's the deal. It's always external. They're in their external brain all the time. Do you think in a million years that they would look at themselves and even consider that it might be them? Nope. See, because they're so external, literally, now you got to understand this. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be nice to the empaths. I'm trying to get you to understand something neurologically. All they're doing is looking outside. So every thought they have inside their brain, and every image that's inside their brain gets projected out and is played out on the movie screen around them, and human beings become the movie screen. So they project their anger, their hurt, and everything that they do to you onto you, saying that you did it to them. Haven't you ever noticed that people that are thieves look at other people like everyone else, like everyone's a thief, even when they're not? Like, I remember this is the first time I was actually in Berkeley, and someone said, because someone's car got broken into, that, well, it's their fault. I'm like, how's it their fault? Their windows were rolled up, their car was locked. What are you talking about? Well, they probably left something out and can't do that around here, so it's their fault. It's not the thief's fault. I'm like, oh my God. Talking about a criminal mentality. But that's the way they see things, and they look at other people as they're criminals too, even when they're not. Okay, I had someone say, well, everyone's a drug addict. I'm like, no, everyone's not a drug addict. Oh, come on, dude, admit it. You're doing some kind of medication or drugs. Nope, I do no medication. Oh, come on, you do Excedrin. Nope. Motrin. Nope. You don't do anything. Nope. Not even aspirin. They're like, you're joking. I'm like, no. They, well, you probably drink then. Nope. Maybe once a month, twice a month. I very, very rare. Sometimes I go 3 months without touching it. All right. Seriously. I'm like, yeah. I go, did you smoke? I'm like, no, I didn't do anything. I drink water. So here's the deal. Most people, especially left-brain people, will project onto other people. And no matter what they see in reality, no matter what they experience in reality, that doesn't matter to them. It's only what they project onto you. That's what they believe. A lot of people tend to see what they are. Period. End of sentence. They hear what they are. They feel what they are. They don't have the ability to go inside and expand out and just receive what's going on and to see, hear, feel, smell, and taste things for the way they are. Getting rid of all of those filters, which are beliefs and values and rules, and just experiencing something in the moment is a challenge for most people. Now let's think about narcissists. They are the extreme of left brain. All they do is project, project, project. And I'm going to tell you, in a million years, in a billion years, even you could literally record them on video and play it back to them. And they're just going to look at you and be like, well, you got to understand, I didn't really mean what I said. Or it's like, wait a minute, but you said that you meant what you said in the video. Well, yeah, but you got to understand, what I really meant was, and some freaking crazy out of left field thing comes into play, and you're like, wait, what? Here's the deal. I don't mean this as a smart-ass remark or anything at all. I'm not trying to be kind to empaths. I'm literally saying you have to understand, people that are very left-brained, that's the only way they view life, they don't have the ability to retrospect, to look inside, to look at themselves. They don't have that physical, neurological ability. It's something they lack. They don't have it. So dealing with them, and okay, have you guys heard a lot of times a narcissist will go to therapy if the person they're trying to get back says, no, you're crazy, you're this, and you don't this and that, and you've got to go to therapy, and otherwise I'm not going to talk to you. Oh, okay, I'll go to therapy. Well, what do they end up doing? What is that? It's not one, but there's a bunch of narcissists online that, God, what's that really famous guy? I can't think of his name again. Has an accent. Anyways, we'll move on. So he even says, he goes, well, the only reason why they're going to therapy is they're going to gain rapport with the therapist, and then they're going to turn the therapist against you. And now you're going to have to go to therapy. And by the way, the reason why narcissists are so, what's the word I want to say? It's like they're so believable is because when you listen to them, they are 100% congruent. This is who this person is. This is the way they are. And someone listening to that, you see, your unconscious mind picks up on this. You're like, man, that sounds totally congruent. And that's why a lot of people tend to believe them for a long time until they really start slipping up, and that's what they always do, because reality versus what they believe is reality starts to collide, and everyone around them starts going, hey, wait a minute, you had me convinced that so-and-so was the drug dealer and that so-and-so else was the drug dealer, and on and on and on. And wait a minute, that's not true. I've known it's like you start the cracks in their reality start to reveal themselves because reality starts to collide with it. And people start taking a look at you going, wait, what's going on here? Not only that, but people start looking at them and they start to realize, like, wait a minute, this guy says this about everyone. Like, everyone he deals with is the problem. It's never him, but that person is the center of all the problems that are going on. So if someone starts doing this to you, start watching them. In other words, pay attention, because they've already done it. You didn't connect the pieces. Just you as you look back, you're like, wait a minute, this guy said this about so and so 6 months ago, and so 3 months ago, and so last year, and now they're having a problem with this other person. Now they're saying it's me. It's like, look for the pattern. And that's all I'm talking about in this video. I just want you to start looking for it. So when people start saying that you're this and you're that, blow them off. Just completely be done with them. Don't talk to them. Don't deal with them. It's just like there's literally no reason for it, because you're just going to spin in circles. Let people believe and think whatever the hell they want. Now, there's a flip side to this in a very, very positive way. And this is what you also have to start looking for. Look for the awesome in people. Okay, I'm just kidding, but there's actually something really cool I'm going to point out. So this is what helped me to kind of come out of that Great Wall of China, the isolation, like I started noticing something, and it was, what's the word I'm looking for? Like complete contrast, night and day, black and white. It was crystal clear. I started noticing the people that were nice to me were nice to themselves. They treated themselves well. They had boundaries. They respected themselves. You know what? It's not even that. That's overkill. Let's back it up. Let's make it real simple. They were super nice to me. What I began to notice was I started watching people, and they had really wonderful tones of voice, and they spoke well of others. They were just kind to me, kind to others. And I started noticing that pattern. Before, it's like I probably could have talked to 100 people and that were like that, didn't even notice it. So what I began to realize is people that love themselves are loving towards other people. People that treat themselves well treat other people well. People who are angry, they tend to project that anger onto you. And onto everyone around them. People that are frustrated, people that don't like themselves, people that have trauma and abuse, they project that all over the place. And no matter what you do, you cannot get them to treat you well. And that's what a lot of empaths and kind, nice-hearted people do. We try to get the mean people who are mean to us, who treat us bad, to treat us well. They can't. They don't have that inside them. Walk away. Now watch this. Here's something I'm trying to get across to you. I see people that are really nice, and they're gentle, and they're kind, they're playful, they're funny. So mean people, anytime you crack a joke, you're just in a good mood and jolly, they'll hurt you. Like, what are you? I actually had someone pull this on me a couple of days ago, and I put him in his place big time. So my point being is, like, I see it everywhere. There are good, happy people out there. They're there. You just have to start seeing them. You know, one thing you could do, just kind of like when you're at a grocery store, just start looking around. Look at the people, look at the cashiers. Who's happy, who's not, who's grumpy, who's not. And even pick out a couple of customers, just watch and look at their expressions, and then start to pay attention when you go back to the same store, you see the same cashiers, maybe the same people once in a while. Start to notice their habitual patterns. Well, 90% of the time, this person's in a shit mood. Sorry for using that word so much. But then there's other people, like there's this young lady, actually there's two of them I can think of, they're cashiers, and they are just joyful and happy and light. Their energy, here's another one, their energy is light. Look for that, just light, easygoing people. Start to look for it, guys. I promise you, you're going to start to be able to discern between messed up people and good people, people that are just kind. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope this video helped you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and please go ahead and click the subscribe button. Go ahead and click the like button. And if you want, you can go ahead and make a comment. Furthermore, if you want, you can go ahead and make a donation. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box. God bless you guys. I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye.